Business credit scores, like personal score, business credit scores also gauge the risk. So let's talk about the implications of business credit, guys. Like personal credit, you know, three bureaus, you have three bureaus with the business credit as well. And three bureaus kind of gauge payments, your history, and they also, which is different from personal credit, they also predict the likelihood of a credit default when you're in business and predict the possibility of a business failing. That's why a lot of times you may have a high paydex score sometimes, but you still might not be getting approved because they have other things in addition to the scores that monitor the prediction and likelihood of default or failure in the business. Now, a payment score functions by using like a average weight, and it kind of demonstrates how fast a company repays its invoices, and they measure it in days. For example, a score of like 75 to 80 may mean that a business pays its invoices on their due date, whereas a score of 95 to 100 may mean that the company pays its vendors back 30 days ahead of schedule. And a score of a 30 will indicate that the company pays its invoices 120 days plus after the due date. So you want to be definitely ahead of schedule, guys, because those are the vendors that get the proper and best scores. You know what I mean? So it's very important to understand these things, guys. And like I say, I'm going to get into it and break it down. And I'm going to really break it down so that you guys understand exactly what's going on and show you how each business credit reporting agency does it different than the other. All right, so let's talk about it. Let's go to the big three business credit scores. Let's talk about how they work. Excuse me. So you have Dun excuse me, I got something in my throat, guys. You got Dun& Bradstreet, which is the paydex score. That's the number one thing. But they don't just record the paydex score. They also record something called a U.S. commercial credit score, and they also record something called a financial stress score. Now, a paydex score again displays how fast a company repays its vendors. We talked about the dollar weight value, and it's weighted from ranging 1 to 100 points. So with an 80 indicating on-time payments, a 100 indicates payments 30 days ahead of time, and a 1 through 20 indicates payments 120 days past due. And you do not want to be in 120 days past due, because Dun & Bradstreet is also going to measure you on the U.S. commercial credit score. Now, a U.S. commercial credit score predicts the possibility of a 90-plus day delinquency based upon the business's bankruptcy or charge-offs within the next 12 months. It ranges from 101 to a 670 score, with the lower scores indicating a higher risk. So that's two ways that Dun & Bradstreet's and measure you how you're going to default or pay your bills on time. And the third one is a financial stress score. A financial stress score predicts the possibility of a company going out of business or filing bankruptcy within the next 12 months. It ranges from a 1001 to a 1875, with the lower scores indicating the higher risk. That's why it's important to show assets in your bank account, liquidity in your bank accounts, your business bank accounts, because you may look good on the surface by paying your bills good on time, but they're going to look at the commercial credit score with Dun & Bradstreet, and they're going to look at the financial stress score. So with Experian, they have something called the DBT, David, Bravo, Tom. The DBT displays the average number of days a company pays its invoices past the assignment terms. All right, past the assigned terms. And then they also have a credit ranking score with Experian. And it's like a U.S. commercial credit score that Dun & Bradstreet has. It's a credit ranking score, also depicts the possibility of delinquency within the next 12 months. It ranges from 1 point to 100 points. A score of 60 represents a company scores over 60% of their companies. And the financial stress score is not applicable. So let me repeat that, guys. So like a credit rating score with Experian, it's like a U.S. commercial credit score with Dun& Bradstreet. A credit ranking score also predicts the possibility of a delinquency within the next 12 months. It ranges from 1 to 100. A score of 60 represents a company's scores over 60% of other companies. All right, then you have Equifax. Equifax does a payment index score, kind of like a paydex score. It's similar to a paydex score, and it also displays how fast a company pays its vendors. A payment index scores range from 1 to 100, but the key difference is that a 90 plus score represents on-time payments, 80 to 89 represents 1 times 30 days payments past due terms, and the 1 to 19 represents 120 plus days past terms. Now, Equifax also has a credit risk score. A credit risk score also predicts the possibilities of a serious delinquency within the next 12 months. It ranges from a 101 to an 816, with the lower scores indicating higher risk. And then Equifax finally has a business failure risk score. A business failure risk score has a similar characteristics of a DNB risk score. However, it ranges from 1,000 to 1,880. All right, so that's where we're going to end when it comes to understanding the big three and how they monitor scores. Again, Dun & Bradstreet, they score you with a paydex score. Experian scores you with a DBT score. And Equifax scores you with a payment index score. Again, you have several components that make up different scores and how you're going to be looked upon as a business that's low or high risk. All right, we're going to go on to the next lesson. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about how to obtain a DUNS number for free.